I welcome you to today's session on websites. In this session, we will be concentrating on specification, server organization, security and integrity. In today's topic, the important topics that will be covered are on specifications, server organization, security and integrity. The objectives of this session are understanding specification for a web server and its necessary resources, acquaintance with the server for providing varied services, awareness of different file formats and organizing them on the server, managing security and integrity of files on the website. All the points which were listed in these objectives are very much important when you are designing a website as well as hosting them and when you are managing them. Server platforms considerations. Server platform considerations. See, when we are thinking of a server platform, there were several issues that have to be considered. One is interoperability. Interoperability in the sense that, see, in an organization there might be a lot of applications that might not be purely web-based applications. When you are going to the web, you need to think of hosting all these applications on the website also. So all your applications should be able to be integrated on the website. That is one consideration. One more consideration is present environment, operating systems and hardware in use. What are the operating systems and what are the hardware? What is the hardware that is being used in your applications at present? You should keep in mind when you are hosting your applications on a web server, whether your applications are compatible with the operating system being hosted on the web server side. If there is no compatibility, then it is not possible for you to host your applications on the web server. So the most important things are again about the operating system and the other software used in your applications. Then what are the services that have to be provided? See, there were a lot of websites. In some websites, the content is very much static. Like once you load them, there is no need for you to change. And when a user goes to that particular website, what happens is he will be just going to the site, he will be reading, he will be just going to the scroll bar, going up and down, clicking on some image maps. But the content is very much static. It is very much fixed. It never changes dynamically. But whenever you are thinking of hosting the website, you should also think about the services that have to be provided from the server side. Like let us say you want to get the response back from the server, like let us say some calculation, let us say calculation of income tax. So some data will be sent to the server. There the calculation is made and again it is output to the client side. Under such circumstances, you need to design forms, then you will be using some language. Then the service provider should be able to do all these things for you. Or else if the service provider can only help you in putting the content on the web, then there is no use. You cannot do such things. And one more thing is, suppose that you want to update your site frequently, then uploading facility. You should be able to upload the files directly from your site, that is from the client side to the server. All the service providers will not allow you to do this. There are some more things, like let us say use of Java, use of ASPs, etc. Not all service providers will be allowing you to use Java, use ASPs, so on. So before you decide to put some information on the web or take a decision on putting the information on particular web service provider's server, you should discuss all these things with them. Only after considering all these issues, you should take a decision. And one important thing is economic issues. This is something related to finance. you should be able to get the best price for the best services. Now the first point is server operating systems. There are a lot of web server operating systems. They are listed in the slide. There are Sun Solaris, Windows NT, Novel NetWare, Macintosh OS, Red Hat Linux, and Open Linux. Among all these, the famous operating systems are NT and Red Hat Linux. Apart from these, the remaining operating systems are also in use, like Solaris is picking up, but still it is not in par with Linux and NT. But most of the market is moving towards NT. From Linux they are switching on towards to NT. At the same time, there are several security issues that are not yet answered in the case of Windows NT. Hardware and communication requirement. So whenever you are thinking of a web server installation, then you need to think of the CPU speed, the memory of the computer, storage, and other peripherals. It depends on the amount of data you will be hosting. It depends on the services you need to get. Like organization can host a web service provider to host its information on the web server, or else it can have its own web server for this purpose. When it decided to have its own web server, then it should think of all these things: the speed of CPU, best to take the latest processor with very high speed, then memory, then storage, and other peripherals. See, when you are speaking about storage, think of data warehousing and other features also. Apart from this, connection to the net, types of connections and hardware requirements. Like though you have a web server in your organization, you will be having a LAN connected to the net. Maybe you might be having some dial-up connections, maybe ISDN lines. You should take a decision whether your organization needs an ISDN line or a leased line or a dial-up connection is enough. See, you need to decide all these things before deciding on having your own web server or putting your information on the web server, or when you are thinking of internet networking your organizations. There are different types of access. They are dial-up connection, dedicated lines, ISDN, and cable network. Dial-up access. See, this is the most simple connections which can be found in most of the organizations as well as in most of the homes, and it is very much used in almost all the countries across the world. It's very simple. You should have a telephone line and you should have a computer. If you have these two, then you can start thinking about dial-up access. Apart from these two, you need to have a modem, and then you need to have appropriate software like browser software in your computer, which is coming usually nowadays along with the computer, and then the telephone number, in the sense that the number of your service provider whom you will be calling whenever you want to connect to the internet. Another is accessing through dedicated lines. This is found not in homes but in offices, most of the offices. In this case, what happens is there will be a workstation, there will be server is on the ISP side, and both of them will be having routers connected to their respective machines. So the workstation is connected to the router as well as server is connected to the router. Router is used to route the data it receives from the workstation or server. Once they receive this data, they will be deciding on that particular, through which lines they have to put all this information to the destination. Like let us say you want to go from New Delhi to Chennai. Then there might be a lot of routes, but then you have to take a decision so that you will reach at the fastest. So the same is the case here also. Whenever there is data, that data has to be routed to the destination. Then there are a lot of paths for that. Depending on the technology, the router will be routing all the data to the destination so that it reaches fast, without corrupted, without interrupted. So in this figure you can clearly see the ISP server being connected to the router, then workstation being connected to the router, and in the meantime you are having this channel service unit or data service unit through which the data is being sent. In a dedicated phone line, what happens is you are always connected to the net, round the clock. There is no need for you to ring any phone number. Since I mentioned here dedicated phone line, you might be thinking that you need to ring any number. There is no need for you. Once it is set up, the line is hot, like it is always connected. The only thing is you just go to your computer, switch it on, open the browser and start typing the URLs and going through the sites. It is always up. It's not like dial-up connection that you have to go and you have to connect. When you complete, you have to disconnect. There is no such restriction on the dedicated line. Then when we are thinking of the server-side software, there were several issues here. One is access control. Like all service providers doesn't give all rights to all the clients. Each client will be given access control as per needed, and it is pre-decided. Like let us say uploading facility. You need to upload the data to the server. This facility, if it is extended to you, you can upload the data at any time from your site. You need to use some Qt FTP or any other FTP application, and you have to just log into the server and then you have to upload the data from your place. Apart from just uploading, you can also change the data which is already available in your directories at the server. In this way, you can change the look of your website in a matter of minutes. At the same time, suppose that your content is static and doesn't extend more than 5-6 pages, then usually for this amount of data, no service provider allows you to upload the data directly. In this case, it cannot be ensured that the data is uploaded immediately, or it is uploaded properly, or it is uploaded in the place it has to be. If you want to change the data you uploaded, again you have to inform the service provider, again you have to send the data to him, and again the same is the case. So access control is very much important when you are choosing to host your site on a server. The second is running CGI scripts or other external modules. Depending on the tools that have been used to develop the application, you need to take care of this particular issue also. Let us say suppose that I have used Perl on the server side. Then it is nothing but I am using CGI programming. The form will be gathering the data from my side, that is from the client side, and then it will be sending to the server, and at the server side the Perl compiler is automatically executed, and then the response will be output to the client. In this case, you need to have an understanding with your service provider that he will allow you to run the CGI scripts on his server. The reason for taking permission is that you need to make a CGI bin directory in the root directory of your server, and having access to the root directory of a server is not going to be a very easy issue that every service provider will agree. So under such circumstances, you need to tell to your service provider that you are interested in running the CGI scripts, and once his permission is granted to you, you can create a CGI bin directory in the root directory of the server, and then you can host all your Perl scripts at the other end, and the users can be able to enter the data in the forms of your site and get the responses. The third one is input from image maps. Now when you are using images, they will be occupying a lot of space, and apart from this, users also get disgusted when the images are not loaded immediately. Like let us say you go to your site, and once you go to the site, suppose that it is taking a lot of time for the image to be downloaded, you will get frustrated. And after downloading the image, suppose that you need to go to some other page, then you will be thinking, why this image at all? They must have connected directly to the text itself. Under such circumstances, what happens is directly the user should be able to interact from the image itself. It is nothing but it is an image map. The image is active at different points. Like let us say there is a map of India, and on the map of India you will be able to see all the names of the states. So when you click on Andhra Pradesh, you should be able to get information on AP. When you click on Tamil Nadu, you should be able to get information on Tamil Nadu. It's like that. Such an image is called image map. So you should be able to have an understanding with your service provider that his technology is fast, that there is no problem in downloading images and hosting the image maps. When you are designing the image map, what happens is you have to choose all the points in that particular image which you want to make them active. Let us say, suppose that there is a square, and in that you want to have a 2, 2, that is x coordinate is 2 and y coordinate is 2. If anyone clicks on that particular point, some information should be output. So you have to decide all such points, and then you have to program in such a way that when the user clicks on that particular point, this particular HTML page will be visible. This is the background of an image map. And of course, in the HTML session, you will be clearly seeing the code as well as some executions of the image maps. So all these things are very much important when you are deciding on the software that has to be on the server side. You should be able to run CGI scripts, you should be able to use image maps, and there should be good access control mechanism. And apart from this, how many people are logging in and how many people are going to your website, how much time they are spending, what are the pages they are frequently visiting, all this information should be there. So there should be log user transaction also. So there will be some files which will be recording the addresses of the users who has logged into your site, and then they will be noting the time they have entered, the time they have exited, all this information. But nowadays things have changed. E-commerce is coming up, and there were a lot of issues that have to be addressed when you are choosing the server-side software. They are logging facilities, access control mechanism, and apart from this, browser compatibility. Suppose that your server software is made up of NT, then it means that only applications that are based on NT can be run. Suppose that your server contains Unix operating system, then it might be the thing that only Unix-based systems can be hosted. All these things have to be thought of. And the final thing is commerce security. Can you do commerce on the server on which you are hosting your website? This is very important. When you are thinking of doing commerce, then the issue is security. People will be entering their private data in that. Like let us say, suppose that there is a site which is selling some books. You can go to Amazon.com or BarnesNoble.com. When you are going to Amazon.com, you will be finding a lot of books and you can buy any of them online. For that, you will be entering your credit card number and your other information. And credit card number is one of the most important things which you should never leak. Then you might be getting suspicion that how can I enter my credit card number? Anyone might be interrupting my data and they might be getting my credit card number. So when you are thinking of commerce on this server, you should take care of all these issues, like does your server support SSL? That is one important thing. Is it in the business of hosting the e-commerce sites from a year or so? Their experience in the field, all these things matter. And apart from this, administration method. In the administration method, it is nothing but seeing that your work is not disturbed and it is very much smooth. Like let us say you want to upload information. When you are thinking of uploading information, you should not get a message that user is denied access. All these things will happen due to the server administrator. So you should also have very much confidence in your service provider that there is no problem with the administration aspect. There are different types of servers. Like we can categorize the server software into different types. There are application server, chat server, mail server, audio video server, list server, fax server, etc. So application server is nothing but that is the server which will be used to host the applications. Chat server, I think you will be very much familiar with this particular one. Chatting, you will be every day chatting with a lot of your friends. When you are chatting, the most important aspect is input and output is very fast. It is in real time. You input some string, then the response will be there from the other person in real time. Under such circumstances, the server will be very much loaded, like a lot of people connecting to the site from different parts of the world and interacting with each other. It is not offline. router, everything will be working in real time. Your data is put on the line, the other person receives it, again he types something, again you will be receiving. This is going to be a hectic affair. Under such circumstances, it's very important that you have a separate server for chatting, and such servers are called chat servers. Third thing is mail server. The server which is used to host all of your email messages. Usually mail servers will be there to any organization which is having good number of employees. Let us consider IGNOU itself. We are having lakhs of students. Now suppose that at present we are giving our Hotmail addresses or USA.net addresses to you to interact with us, like to send your messages to us. At the same time, just think, it is 5 MB or 10 MB which your USA.net or Hotmail address can give. Now what about if the students keep on sending messages even after this storage is occupied? There is a problem. So you need to have good amount of storage on the server to store all of your email messages. So for this particular purpose, you will be having some servers which are called mail servers. They are just used to store all your mail messages. Apart from that, nothing else. Then comes audio video servers. As you know, audio as well as video files, they occupy a lot of storage. Whenever the problem of storage occurs, you need to have a separate server for that. All the audio files and video files can be put on a server. So basically here it's going to be an entire architecture. Like your server will be there, then client will be interacting with the server, then depending whether the application is going to be a chat application, whether it is going to be an audio or video download, or it's going to be a fax message, etc., the server will be taking a decision of again waking up another server, whether it be a chat server or a audio video server. Then comes list servers. I hope that you are very much familiar with list servers, subscribing to the lists in different sites. So lot of users will be subscribing, storing all the users' email addresses, etc., etc. It's very much difficult where a server is hosting almost everything. Like all applications are put in one server, chat, everything is put on the single server. That is a mix of applications on a single server. When you are going for such a configuration, it is very difficult for you to use audio, video, email, chat, list, etc. You need to have separate server for each separate aspect. Nowadays, giving fax through internet is becoming popular. So when the people are giving fax through internet, the entire data has to be stored on the server. Under such circumstances, again there is a lot of storage problem. Then you need to have a separate fax server for that. So you need to have an application server, chat server, mail server, audio video server, list servers, as well as fax servers. Separate servers should be there for each of the separate aspects like mail, audio, video, chat, list, fax, and your applications. So now there are several softwares that can be used to design websites. We'll be going through them. One is Microsoft front page, navigation window. See, you are having Microsoft front page, you are having Dreamweaver, all these different softwares with the help of which you can design websites. And Microsoft front page is one of the most famous editors. You can easily embed Java applets, you can easily put JavaScripts, etc. You are having different types of HTML editors. One is what you see is what you get. So here what happens is, suppose that you draw an image and you want to put it on the web page. You just drag that image and you put it on the web page. Now the code for putting an image on the web page will be automatically generated. So there is no need for you to go through the HTML books, finding what is the code I have to write, all those things, angular brackets, etc. You can forget. Suppose that you want to design a table, then you need not write using HTML, using table keyword, cells keyword, width keyword, all these things. The only thing you have to do is just use the editor, which will be saying insert table, give the width and breadth and number of rows and number of columns. Just input the data, the table is ready. the code for designing this table in HTML will be automatically generated. Basically, every HTML editor has done that. And apart from that, suppose that you want to insert a Java applet, then there is separate code for that. You need to use the code keyword, you need to use the applet keyword, then you need to give height, width of your applet, all these things. You need not give any such things if you are using an editor. It will be directly allowing you to embed Java applet, put JavaScript, put images, design pages, color pages, etc. Everything you can do using the editors. And one of the most famous editors are Macromedia Dreamweaver. This is an industry standard which is being at present used in most of the industries. And apart from that, Microsoft Front Page.